This video explains how Chronicle can adjust overtime rates based on non-discretionary bonuses. We'll explain both what a non-discretionary bonus is and why you need to adjust overtime rates based on these. According to what, in our understanding, is a federal law in the United States, you need to adjust overtime rates based on non-discretionary bonuses. That means that if our understanding is correct, this video applies to all U.S. customers. It does not apply to customers outside the U.S. If you have questions about whether this applies to you, speak to a labor law expert for your region. If this overtime law applies to you, on the labor setup screen, make sure that the checkbox that says Adjust Overtime Rate Based on Non-Discretionary Bonuses is checked. If this law does not apply to you, uncheck that box. Again, from our understanding, for all U.S. customers, this box should be checked. Before we explain the details of how Chronicle calculates the adjusted overtime rates, let me explain the difference between a discretionary and a non-discretionary bonus. A discretionary bonus is a bonus that your company is not obligated to give. For example, if you decide to give each employee a $100 bonus at Christmas, that's an optional bonus. That is a discretionary bonus. It's not required. Similarly, if a customer called and commented that an employee went beyond the call of duty, and in appreciation for that, you decided to give that employee a $25 bonus, that once again would be a discretionary bonus, and this law does not apply to discretionary bonuses. However, if your company policy is to pay a bonus whenever an employee is on call for a weekend, or if you always pay a bonus if an employee works after a certain time in the evening, those bonuses, they are bonuses because they go beyond the employee's normal hourly pay. Those bonuses are required by your company policy, and so those bonuses are considered non-discretionary bonuses. It's those non-discretionary bonuses that affect overtime rates if you've checked this box, Adjust Overtime Rates Based on Non-Discretionary Bonuses. Regardless of whether you have this box checked, discretionary bonuses will have no effect on overtime rates. If this checkbox is checked, Chronicle will automatically calculate the adjusted overtime rates. You don't need to understand the calculations that we're going to explain here for Chronicle to do this, but we're going to explain what the calculation is so that you understand what Chronicle is doing. Let's look at a particular employee who makes $10 an hour, and for this example, we're going to presume that weekly overtime applies, but that daily overtime does not. And in this particular week, this employee has worked 50 hours. You can see that we have 40 hours of regular time and 10 hours of overtime. Because there's no non-discretionary bonus, the overtime is calculated at time and a half, just as you would expect. However, if we add a non-discretionary bonus to this employee, if you indicate that there's a bonus and that checkbox is checked, then the bonus type column appears where you can indicate that the bonus is discretionary or non-discretionary. If we put in a non-discretionary bonus, you'll notice that Chronicle has adjusted the overtime rate, and you'll notice that the labor formula tells you that that overtime rate has been adjusted based on non-discretionary bonuses. In case you're interested, here's how the calculation works. This law requires that you take the total number of hours, in this case 50, and multiply it by the employee's base pay rate, in this case $10. That gives us a total of $500. To that $500, we add in the bonus amount of $50, and we now have a total of $550 for the week. Next, we would divide the total amount with bonuses of $550 by the number of hours worked, that is 50, and we would get an adjusted base rate of $11 an hour. Under this law, overtime hours need to be paid at the base rate plus half of this adjusted rate. In this case, the base rate is $10 an hour. The adjusted rate is $11, so we need to add $10 and half of the adjusted rate, which is $550, to result in a new overtime rate of $15.50 an hour instead of $15. Once again, you don't need to understand how to do these calculations. You simply need to indicate on the labor setup screen that overtime rates should be adjusted for non-discretionary bonuses, and then when you put in a bonus, you need to indicate that the bonus is discretionary or non-discretionary. Chronicle will handle the rest. That's it for the adjusted overtime calculations. For help with other aspects of Chronicle's labor tracking, see our other labor videos.